Ah, you're off on holiday for the weekend. Lucky you. When you come back, you discover the power has been turned off. So how long was the power off? Should you keep the food that was in there or throw it out? Well, here's a simple trick. Before you leave home, fill a cup with water and put it in the freezer. When it's frozen, place a coin on top and return it to the freezer. If you find a coin at the bottom of the cup when you come back after a long or even a short holiday, you should throw away all the food immediately. It means that the power was off long enough for your food to melt and refreeze. If the coin is on top, it means there was no power failure and your food is safe. Depending on how long it's been in there, of course. If the coin is in the middle of the cup, it means that the power went out for a short time only. Most of your food items are probably still fresh. Well, as the old saying goes, if in doubt, throw it out. It's not worth the risk to your health. So, how long can food stay in your freezer? Well, it depends on what it is. Is it fish, chicken, beef, or vegetable? If it's a fruity ice block, you can probably leave that in there until the next decade, though I wouldn't recommend it. May as well have it now while we're going through your freezer. It all depends on its size and, most importantly, the actual temperature. Just in case you're not sure, we'll simply stick to averages. According to the official resources on food safety, if your freezer is at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or below, bacon and sausage can last from 1 to 2 months. Same with ham. Hamburger meats and ground poultry can last from 3 to 4 months. Fresh beef, veal, lamb, and pork will be good from 4 to 12 months. For many items, the exact period depends on whether they're fresh or cooked or vacuum sealed. Fresh chicken and turkey can last from 9 months to a year. Fatty fish is good for 2 to 3 months, while lean fish like haddock lasts 6 to 8 months. Keep that lobster out altogether. It's not recommended to freeze it. Some pies, such as custard pie, don't freeze well, so I'll eat that now. But a cooked quiche will last up to 3 months. Soups and stews are good for between 2 and 6 months, and leftovers like chicken nuggets or pizza can last over a month. But it's better just to refrigerate them for the next day. Now, let's move on to the great outdoors. The cold has remarkable powers to preserve stuff. You've no doubt heard of one of the world's most famous mummies, who may or may not have been a daddy, but was certainly a man. The Iceman was found in the Austrian Alps in 1991 after being frozen for about 5,000 years. I'm guessing that's past his best if used by date. One of his nicknames is Frozen Fritz. There are several theories as to how he ended up there, but he may have been in a battle. He had most likely eaten right before, as his stomach was full. Scientists could even tell what his last meal was, and it wasn't vegetarian. Several years ago, scientists thawed an 18,000-year-old puppy in the Russian permafrost. It's a rare find as it was so well preserved. It was definitely a male, and yet they were unable to determine whether it was a dog or a wolf. Researchers are still collecting data on the evolution of modern dogs. Our ancient ancestors had more than just dogs running around. They also had to worry about cave lions. 2 baby lions were found in the Sakha Republic in Russia in 2015. The scientists later established they were between 25,000 and 55,000 years old. They also concluded the cubs were the closest extinct relative of present-day lions. They're known as cave lions, thanks to cave drawings by ancient humans. A prehistoric squirrel was found under the permafrost in Alaska. It's believed to be a staggering 1.8 to 2.5 million years old. Its relatives are still alive today. They first appeared in North America around 10 million years ago. Gold prospectors in the Yukon Territory found several of them along with uncovered nests. These are great finds for scientists who have learned much from studying the plants and seeds in these nests, including how other animals, like bison, survived in the cold. One miner found what he thought was an egg. He donated it to the Canadian Museum of Nature. An X-ray revealed it was actually a 40,000-year-old preserved squirrel that had been frozen in the hibernation position. Also in Yukon in 2003, researchers found the remains of a horse. It turned out to be 700,000 years old, which makes it the oldest ancient DNA ever recovered in the world. Before the discovery, the oldest genome was from a polar bear that was 120,000 years old. It proved that horses are much older than originally believed, and also that DNA can survive for an incredible amount of time, thanks to the right freezing conditions. One more before we move on to people. A baby mammoth was discovered in 2007 by accident by a reindeer hunter on the frozen peninsula in Russia. It's said to be over 41,000 years old. They named the baby Luba, and it now resides in a nearby museum. There have been several major traffic jams in recent times where many people got stuck in their vehicles during icy conditions and were this close to freezing. In January 2022, hundreds of motorists were forced to spend the night in their vehicles on an interstate in Virginia. There was another one in Japan in December 2020, where more than 1,000 vehicles were stranded on a highway for 2 days after a heavy snowstorm. Rescuers had to remove some people, and I never heard whether they checked their stomachs for what they ate last. Now, if you're unlucky to find yourself in your car in a snowstorm, here are some handy tips. If you're able, run your car for 10 minutes every hour. If you leave it on the whole time, you'll run out of gas soon enough. 10 minutes should be enough to warm yourself and keep the engine from freezing up. While the car is running, you can charge your phone. You should also lower your window occasionally just to ventilate the car. Stay in your car so that others can get to you. No matter how cold it gets, it will always be colder outside. Of course, the best thing to do would be to ensure your car has plenty of gas, that you've stocked up on food and drink supplies just in case, and that you have a battery backup for your phone. An emergency blanket is a great idea too. Hopefully, you'll never have to use it, but it's better to have one. We recommend keeping an eye on weather alerts before you venture out in the first place. Have you ever put something unusual in your freezer, like a frozen squirrel? Nah, just kidding. Some people use it as a safe to store money. Some have stored documents in there, perhaps to hide from burglars or prying eyes, or simply in case of fire. Not a bad idea. Is this where frozen assets come from? Some fishermen keep the bait in their freezers. Well, it's better than in the refrigerator alongside Mom's apple pie. Some creative guys store their clothing in the freezer to eliminate moths or any potential lice. They even believe it's a better alternative to washing clothes. While it's a reasonable idea in theory, sort of, your average household kitchen freezers do not get cold enough to exterminate bacteria. For that, it's got to be minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Besides, would you really want to eat a sausage that's been stored next to your dirty socks?